पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारश्च तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नमः श्री शङ्करानन्द गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलासमहामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। From the verse 137, प्रसरन्ति हि चोद्याने जगद्वस्तुत्ववादिषु न चोदनीयं मायायाम् तस्याश्चोद्यैकरूपतः। चोद्येऽपि यदि चोद्यं स्यात् त्वच्चोद्ये चोद्यते मया। परिहार्यं ततश्चोद्यम् न पुनः प्रतिचोद्यताम्। विस्मयैकशरीरायाः मायायाश्चोद्यरूपतः। अन्वेष्यः परिहारोऽस्याः बुद्धिमद्भिः प्रयत्नतः। माया त्वमेव निश्चेयम् इति चेत् तर्हि निश्चिनो। लोकप्रसिद्धमायायाः लक्षणं यत्तदीक्षताम् न निरूपयितुं शक्या विस्पष्टं भासते च या। सा मायेतीन्द्रजालादौ लोकाः सम्प्रतिपेदिरे। स्पष्टं भाति जगच्चेदम् अशक्यं तन्निरूपणम्। मायामयं जगत्तस्मात् ईक्षस्व पक्षपाततः. This Maya is now being discussed here. That there is no point in keeping on asking questions. It's better that, because Maya itself is of the nature of question, and therefore all you will have in your life, when you seek an explanation of what is what, you will only have questions, and one question itself will replace by another questions, because you seem to have answered a question which raises another question, and thus this whole parampara or the series of questions go on. And therefore, best is that instead of questioning this, it's better that you eliminate the very question itself. Why? Because Maya, from which this creation is, itself is the nature of question. And therefore, it is Maya that you should seek to eliminate rather than trying to understand. The idea is that rather than trying to understand the nature of Maya, understand that it is Maya and then seek to eliminate by gaining the knowledge of that which Maya conceals or which Maya makes appear in a different way. Because what Maya does is that Atma is Kutastha, makes it appear as this creation which is all the time changing. And thus it makes the Atma appear to be Jagat, and this is what Maya does. And therefore understand that the Jagat that appears is the product of Maya. And when it is Maya, rather than trying to understand what exactly is the nature of Maya, to understand it as Maya as something that is inexplicable, and then instead of wasting your time in trying to explain the creation, try to look for that which is the very basis of Maya, or that which is the truth behind the Maya. But who says that this is Maya? He says, well, whatever Maya means, the magic that we know of, and whatever are the characteristics of the magic of a magician are also found to be the characteristics of this creation. Alright, what is the nature of that magic? Says in verse 141, Nan nirupayitum shakya vispashtam bhasade cha samaya indrajaladau lokaha sampratipedire. Indrajala means the jugglery of a juggler or the magic of a magician. So when we see a magical show, then vispashtam bhasade, we find that whatever the magician creates is evident very clearly. He creates something where in fact there is nothing, or he seems to change one thing into another. Like he can create an apple where there is no apple, or he can convert a piece of newspaper into $100 bill. So this is what we find a magician doing, and we find that it is very clearly perceptible what he creates. Nan nirupayitum shakya. However, we know that in a while it disappears, and we cannot really ascertain what is the nature of this product of magic that appears before us. Sa Maya. This is called Maya. So people also know what Maya is or what magic is. That it appears clearly, but that whose nature cannot be ascertained is called Maya. And so this is the kind of thing we find with reference to creation also. Spashtam bhavi jagat chedam asakyam tam nirupanam. The world also is something that is very clearly perceived. Like a magician makes us perceive a lot of things. He creates a woman there and cuts her into pieces and stuff like that. Again joins them and then again she is alive. This kind of fantastic things are done by magicians. We can see him doing those things. He cuts it into pieces and puts it in a box, and then again she arises from a box. All these kind of things I remember having seen many years ago. And so it looks as though it is real, and you know it is not real. And so it appears to be there clearly, but something that cannot be explained. And so also the world appears to be there very clearly because we clearly experience it, but still we cannot ascertain the nature of this creation. Therefore, whatever is the characteristic of the magic of a magician are also found to be the characteristic of this world, and therefore it is a product of Maya. Mayamam jagat tasmat ikshasva apakshapadatāh. It gives a pakshapata. So, give up your preconceived notion or give up an insistence that you can explain this world, that the world is real. That's called Paṃcadaśī, meaning sticking to one paksha or one position. So give up your insistence upon the position that this world is real. And if you give up that, then you will see very clearly that idam jagat mayamayam, the whole creation is mayamayam, nothing but maya. And thus you will be able to ascertain that creation is maya. Once you understand it as maya, then you don't bother to further explain. When you know that this apple is maya or magic, then you don't bother to explain what it is made up of, etc. Because that which cannot be ascertained alone is called maya. And this is how we find the creation to be. Now continuing the discussion, says here, Jagatah asakya nirupanatvam katham iti asankya tad darshayati. Okay, how do you say this Jagat cannot be ascertained? Well, that question is asked and the author himself now shows it. Jagatah asakya nirupanatvam katham. How do you say that this creation is something that cannot be defined or that cannot be ascertained? Katham, how do you say iti asankya tad darshayati asakya nirupanatvam darshayati. In the preceding verses now, the author, the teacher shows how nothing in the world can really be ascertained as such and such. Says in the verse 143, Nirupayitumarabdhe Nikhilairapi panditaihi Ajnanam puratastesham Bhati kakshasu kasuchita. Nikhilaihi api panditaihi nirupaitum arabdhe. Nikhilaihi api panditaihi. Pandita means the learned people. Nikhilaihi, all the learned people, nirupaitum arabdhe. There are many learned people who have attempted in the past and who continue to attempt nirupaitum, to ascertain the nature of this creation. So Pandita means the learned people. There are any number of learned people who have made an attempt to ascertain the nature of this creation. Then what happens? Kasuchit kakshasu tesham puratah ajnanam bhati. Kasuchit kakshasu. Kakshasu, the footnote number 1 says bhumikasu. Up to a certain bhumika or up to a certain point, up to a certain stage, they are able to ascertain the nature of things as though. And beyond that point, tesham puratah ajnanam bhati. Beyond that point, they come up with a wall. Meaning, they are not able to, and then it becomes all a mystery. Up to a certain point, we are able to understand what the nature of things is, and beyond that point, we find that it turns into a mystery. And even though this is a statement of 600 or 700 years ago, but even today also we can very clearly see how the scientists are exactly trying to, are only coming up with a situation like this, that they take a piece of matter and try to analyze what it is. And ultimately it resolves into a mystery, whether it is a particle or whether it is a wave or whether it is energy or what it is. And then the wave and the particle and whatever it is seems to disappear. They talk of probabilities, that is either this, or the probability of this being is this, probability of mass is this, or probability of its speed being this, and sometimes it exhibits the characteristics of a particle, sometimes the matter seems to exhibit the characteristics of a wave. And light, for example, is it a wave or is it nothing but particles? So it seems to exhibit the property of both, and therefore it seems that perhaps it is different from both, and what it is we cannot ascertain. And not only that, but if you keep on splitting a particle into smaller and smaller fractions, ultimately it disappears from your sight, meaning it becomes imperceptible, and then you give it a name, energy, meaning something imperceptible. And so, kasuchit kakshasu, up to a certain point, the scientists are able to go. And so is also the case with all other people who are conducting an inquiry into the nature of world. whether they are philosophers or whoever they are, all of those people or psychologists or whoever they are, up to a certain point they can explain as though, and beyond that point it just turns out to be a mystery. Tesham puratah ajnanam bhati. Ignorance alone is what presents itself before them, or they are confronted with a mystery. Okay, this is a statement which has to be supported. Asatya nirupanattvameva udaharana spashtayati. Udaharana, by an illustration, asatya nirupanatvam, that this world it is impossible to ascertain the nature of the world. Is spashtayati is clarified here, udaharana, with the help of an illustration. I mean, you can take any illustration, but one illustration is taken here for showing the nature of things, and that very same thing will apply to anything that you can take up for analysis. So here in verse 144, an illustration is taken up for discussion. Says here, Dehendriyadayo bhavaha Viryenotpaditah katham Katham va tatra chaitanyam Ityukte te kimuttaram. Dehendriyadayo bhavaha takes the case of the human body. It seems that a man, a westerner, once went to a place called Vrindavan there in India, North India, went to a Mahatma and says, have you seen any miracle? Can you show me a miracle? He says, well, you are standing in front of me, itself is a miracle. So that's a viryena, that little drop of semen at the moment is standing before me, walking and talking and doing all this. What greater miracle do you want? What were you before you were created in this form? So, dehendriyadayo bhavaha. All this bhava means all these beings. It consists meaning of the nature of deha, indriya, etc. So this body, the sense organs, and this whole assembly, which is what we call the human body. How are they created? Viryena utpaditaha. Merely from the semen, all of them are created. Katham, please tell me how they are created. Can you explain how this semen, can get converted into or result into this human form? Katham va tatra chaitanyam. So how the drop becomes this body consisting of the sense organs and all these different limbs. Katham va tatra chaitanyam. And please tell us, how did the consciousness come into that? So how do you first of all explain this whole body in this form resulting from the shukra and shonika, as I say, the blood and the semen, both of them combined, and how do they result into this body such as this? Katham va tatra chaitanyam. And please tell us also, how did consciousness come into this? Suppose we ask you this question, te kimuttaram, what reply do you have or what answer do you have to give us as to how did consciousness come into this body, and how did this very body, consisting of all these characteristics, how did that get formed from just a combination of virya and shonika? Then a tentative answer is given. Svabhavavadi shankate. These are called svabhavavadis, who say that it is the nature of things to be like this. Svabhavastu pravartate. It is the nature of things that they manifest themselves in this manner. It is called svabhavavadi. Who does not accept any cause beyond what is perceptible and says that whatever you perceive is the way things are. So svabhavavadi shankate. That svabhavavadi presents an answer to this question. It says in verse 145, Viryasya svabhavaschet katham tadveditam tvaya anvayavyatirekavyau Bhagnau tau bandhya viryatah. He says, Viryasya eshaha svabhavaha. This fellow says, it is svabhava of the virya, of the semen, that in fact it brings about the body, and that it brings about the consciousness in the body. This is the nature of this. This is the nature of virya or the semen. This is the answer. Then he says, Siddhanti prachade. Siddhanti means a Vedantin asks the question, Katham tadidi, katham tad viditam thaya. How do you come to know that? How do you say that it is the nature of this viryam to bring about this body and bring about consciousness? How do you know this? For you to ascertain this, there must be a certain certain law or a certain order must be there for you to come to a certain conclusion. I think if it happens invariably in a certain manner, then we can say that that is the nature. That when we drop a stone or anything from our hand, that it falls down. It is the nature of things. How do you say? Wherever we drop something, it invariably falls down. If this is observed as an invariable rule or what we call vyapti, then alone you can make a rule. Or you can say that this happens as a rule. Yatra yatra dhumah, tatra tatra vannihi. Wherever the smoke is, there fire must be, as a rule. So this is called vyapti or an inconcomitant relationship, invariable relationship. Have you seen that kind of relationship, that wherever the semen is, or wherever there is combination of shukra and shonika, that necessarily there is a creation of the body? Is there an invariable rule? Then you can say that it is virya or the combination of shukra and shonika which is brought about. So for that you must have anvaya and vyatireka. See, in this case, yatra yatra dhumah, tatra tatra vanni is called anvaya. Wherever the smoke is, there the fire must be. What is vyatireka? Wherever the fire is not, smoke cannot be. That's called vyatireka. So wherever smoke is, fire has to be. Where the fire is not, smoke cannot be. That is vyatireka, that shows that smoke is something that is dependent upon the fire. Fire is the cause and smoke is the effect. And so, can you say that here in this case also? Is anvaya vyatireka bhyam janami. We ask him the question, how did you come to know that it is the nature of this viryam to bring about this body and impart consciousness to this? Anvaya vyatireka bhyam janami. He says that I know it as a rule because of anvaya and vyatireka. Anvaya means that something happens as a rule. Vyatireka means something does not happen as a rule. So where the smoke is, there fire must be as a rule. Where the fire is not, smoke cannot be as a rule. Is that what he says? That is how I know this one also. That wherever viryam is, there or wherever the virya, the sanyoga of the shukra and the shonika is, there this form must be there. It is vyapti abhavat ma evam. There is no vyapti or invariable rule. Therefore, anvaya vidareka yav bhagnavatav vandhaviryatah. The Siddhanta says that anvaya vitareka or invariable rule does not apply. Vandhaviryatah. Vandhaviryatah means vandhyayam cha tatra viryasya jarsatvat. So what we call vandhya means a barren woman. But even when the shukra or the semen is injected, it does not necessarily result into the creation of a body. And therefore, if you say that wherever this is injected or wherever the sanyoga is, that a body should necessarily result, you don't find that as a rule, and then you cannot say that it is the property of the virya that it should bring about this kind of a product or result. Vandhyayam cha tatra viryasya vyasatvat vyapti na ghatade yatra yatra viryam tatra tatra dehadikam iti na anvayopi. Anvaya means vyapti is not there, that wherever the virya is, that the deha etc. is there, that invariable rule is not there. And therefore you cannot say that it is the nature of this. Somebody else brings it about. There is some factor which is unknown or which is inexplicable, which brings about the creation of the body from the combination of shukra and shonika. Because that combination necessarily brought about the body, well then you know that it is the nature of those things. But that is not necessarily so, and therefore we have to accept a factor other than the combination of shukra and shonika for the creation of the body or for the entrance of or for the consciousness to manifest there. Manifestation of consciousness also is another mystery. As to how the consciousness manifests in this particular body, there is also another mystery. And so how is consciousness created? Is it created as a result of combination of Shukra and Shonita? Is it created as a result of combination of some matter that the consciousness is created? That also is a mystery which we cannot explain. And then the tree, vriksha, etc., they have a body. Like human form is a body, so also tree is a body. But there we do not find this particular process of a combination of Shukra and Shonita. We don't find that process happening in case of tree, etc., and still there is a body. So here, that body is there, still the cause, namely the Shukra Shonita Sanyuga, is not there. And so Karyam is there, body, namely the tree, is there, but Karyam, meaning cause, meaning the combination of Shukra and Shonita, is not there. In case of Vandhya or barren woman, the Karyam is there, the Shukra Shonita is there, but Karyam, namely Deha, is not there. And so in both the cases, Anvaya and Vyatireka, both of them are found to be not applicable as a rule. So Bhagno means they are destroyed, or that both of them are, there is a Vibhichara. Means these rules are not applicable in those cases. And so when Anvaya and Vyatireka is not there, then we cannot say that something is there as a rule. So you cannot, if something is as a rule, then you know that it is the nature of that thing. Like fire is hot as a rule, water is fluid as a rule, stone is hard as a rule. Then you can say that is the nature of those things. Can you say that is a rule? Wherever Shukra Shonita is, then necessarily there is a creation of body? No. Or wherever body is, that there is necessarily consciousness? No. And therefore, we cannot say that it is the nature of matter to exhibit consciousness, or is nature of the Shukra Shonita to bring about the formation of a body. And thus, suppose you give an answer, you ask a further question. Give another answer, ask further questions. A time will come when you will have to say that, I do not know. Evam punah prashte sati. You take anything. This was just the illustration of body. You take anything in the creation. As to what is this? Is it a wave or is it a particle? Ultimately he will say, I do not know. Is it there or not there? He will have to say, I do not know. Is it there? If it is there, it must always remain there. But that is not the case because it can be negated. Therefore we cannot say that it is there. Is it not there? Therefore we cannot say, because if it is not there, it cannot be perceived. Since a thing is perceived, we cannot say that it is not there. And since it is subject to negation, we cannot say it is there. And thus you ask for anything. Is it cloth? What is this? Is it cloth or cotton? You say it is cotton. It is cloth. Then I say it is cotton. You say, okay, it is cotton. I say it is fibers. Okay, it is fibers. I say it is atoms, particles. Ultimately, point will come when you will say, I do not know what it is. It is a mystery. The energy which is not a tangible thing, it results into this very tangible creation. If you go into the root of this creation, as the scientists have discovered, there is everything behind the creation is what they call energy, which is not a tangible thing. And still, this is nothing but what we call matter is nothing but the wave or crystallized energy or a wave of energy. And what brings about this kind of waves, and how energy which is intangible can appear as tangible matter, etc., all of this is inexplicable. Why Param Brahma is limited is also inexplicable. Yesterday a child asked me, a youngster, Swami, if you say that I am a samsari, I am ignorant, and I am not really different from God, okay, when did this happen? I said, there is no answer when did this happen. Why did it happen? There is no answer as to why it happened. We cannot even say that it happened to begin with. And therefore there is no clear answer to why. You may be able to give an answer up to a certain point, and then you will say that I do not know. Evam punah prashte sati. Thus if you press, kimapi na janami. Therefore Vedantins do not profess to answer things, and you never should take up a position before other people that you can answer their questions. You will have to say, kimapi na janami. I don't know anything. I don't know why it is so. And there, anybody can press you can press anyone up to that point when the person will have to say, I do not know. Did what Rama did, was it right or wrong? Should he listen to his father or should he listen to his mother? I don't know. Did his father tell him directly or indirectly? Is it proper to do what he did? I do not know. Ultimately you will have to say, I do not know, because you cannot even judge a given thing as proper or improper, right or wrong. All of these are subject to standpoint, and therefore from a given standpoint it is this, from another standpoint it is something else. And so, iti eva uttaram deyam, this is the answer that you will ultimately give, na kimapi na janami, I don't know anything, iti phalitamaha. This is what happens when you take anything for inquiry, to ascertain the nature of anything. And says here, verse 146, न जानामि किमप्येतत् इत्यन्ते शरणं तव अत एव महान्तोऽस्य प्रवदन्तीन्द्रजालताम्. न जानामि किमपि एतद् इति अन्ते शरणं तव. Sharanam means refuge. Ultimately, rakshitru, or rakshakam, that which will protect you is called sharanam. Ultimately, you will have to take refuge in this particular answer. Na janami kimapi. I do not know anything. I do not know what it is. This is ultimately what you will have to answer, and you will have to take refuge ultimately in ignorance. That's what he said. Ajnanam puratah tesham bhati. Ultimately, they get confronted with only a wall of ignorance, a wall of mystery. And whenever we ask you a question, you will also be able to take a refuge into this kind of an answer, that I do not know what it is. Atah eva mahantah asya pravadanti indrajalatam. Atah eva mahantah pravadanti. Mahantah, mahat mahantau mahantah. So this mahantah, this mahan means these great people. Pravadanti, this is what they say. Therefore, this is the reason why the great people say, learned people say, asya indrajalatam pravadanti. Asya jagatah indrajalatam. This jagat is indrajala. This jagat is nothing but a fabrication of the maya. Nothing but a jugglery of a juggler. This is what the wise people ultimately say. All this is maya alone. Indrajala means magic. So, like a net, magical net, and so also, they say that it is nothing but a net of maya. Ukta anirvachaniyatve vruddha sammatim darshayati. Here we offer force from another text to show that this is a sammati, this is what the vruddha or the earlier acharyas have to say. You find that the kind of discussions that are taken up in Paṃcadaśī in such texts have reference to some other things also. So when he gives a certain illustration or when he presents here a certain line of argument, it is not that it is something that is necessarily his own, but then whatever the ideas that are presented here have their origin in some other texts of the elder acharyas. So we might feel that this is altogether a new idea, but now earlier teacher has already said it, Vruddha Sammatim. Vruddha means the elder people, and so the earlier teachers also have Anirvachaniyatve, that everything is Anirvachaniyam, meaning inexplicable, is what the elders also say, and that Sammati or concurrence is shown here by the teacher in the following verse. You find that the meter changes because he has quoted a verse from another text. Says verse 147. एतस्मात् किमिवेन्द्रजालमपरम् यद्गर्भवासस्थितम् रेतश्चेतति हस्तमस्तकपद प्रोद्भूतनानाङ्कुरम् पर्यायेण शिशुत्व यौवन जरा वेशैरनेकैर्वृतम् पश्यत्यत्ति शृणोति जिघ्रति तथा गच्छत्यथा गच्छति। एतस्मात् किम इव इंद्रजालम अपरम। एतस्मात् अपरम इंद्रजालम किम इव अपरम। एतस्मात् अपरम other than this किम इव इंद्रजालम, what other इंद्रजाला or what other magic can there be other than what you see here? What is it? यद गर्भवास स्थितम रेतः चेतति. This रेतः, you see this little fetus, which is nothing but a product of what we call the semen. Garvavasa sthitam, this embryo or the fetus which is in the embryo, so this fetus which is in the womb, that chetati means chestate. This little drop of virya starts moving about, chestate. Hasta mastaka padat pradat pradhutananam kuram, and like a seed sprouts, into various, shows various distinct characteristics. Similarly also this little seed shows this variety of characteristics. Hasta, it has hands. This little drop of virya has hands. Mastaka, the head. Pada, the legs. Pradhutananam kuram. In this manner, this little seed sprouts into this specific form. What a wonder it is. What other wonder or what other indrajala or maya can be other than this, that a little drop of this virya then this chesta, meaning it starts moving about and it presents itself in the form of this body which has hands and legs and head, etc. Then, not enough, it is born in this form, paryayana, again in a sequence, shishutva yauvana jara veshahi anekaihi vritam. Again it exhibits all these different vesha, meaning all these different avasthas, such as shishutva, the childhood, yauvana, the youth, jara, the old age. And the same little drop then exhibits itself in this form of all these different states. What more magic do you want? Not only that, pashyati, atti, shrunoti, jigrati, tatha gacchati, atha agacchati. And look, it sees, pashyati, atti, it eats, shrunoti, it hears, jigrati, it smells, tatha gacchati, it goes, agacchati, it comes. Gacchati means it dies, agacchati means born, that also, or goes and comes. Etasmat aparam indrajalam kimiva. Other than this, what greater magic can there be? What chamatkara do you want to see? What miracle do you want? What greater miracle there can be? What is a miracle? It's something that we cannot explain. That's what we call miracle. Perhaps 1,000 years ago or several thousand years ago, a phenomenon such as rain also was a miracle. And so then slowly the miracles are known and they no more remain miracles. But today also we consider those things as miracles which are not explicable to us. This is what greater miracle do you want? Why do people want to see miracles? The miracles are every day, every moment there. In fact, whatever there is nothing but a miracle. And so what miracle there can be then that this little drop results into this fetus, this child, exhibiting all these different limbs, all the different states and performing all the different functions. What greater miracle can there be or what greater maya can there be? Thus this thing is maya. Na kevalam dehasyeva nidurnarupatvam kintu vatavrakshadeha api. Alright, now you stretch the same kind of questioning into the vatavraksha, meaning the banyan tree, etc. So we find that a little drop which results into this huge body with all these characteristics is inexplicable, where similarly also take Vatavraksha, meaning a banyan tree. Banyan tree is one of the biggest trees because banyan tree, as you know, has a characteristic that the secondary roots, form into the stems and thus it goes on and on. And in India there are banyan trees which in fact spread over several, maybe an acre or even more. In Gujarat itself there is a banyan tree that is called Kabir Vata. There is a great saint whose name was Kabir. Apparently he must have planted that thing there, and now it grows on and it's spread all over. You don't know where it started, and what is the original stem, nobody can determine. That Vata Vriksha, which is one of the largest trees, its seed is smaller than the smallest, like an atom. So the seed of this Vata Vriksha is atomic in size, and so is another Ascharya, or another miracle is there. That is what is said in the verse 148. Dehavat vatadhanadau suvicharya vilokyatam kvadhanah kutra va vrikshah tasman mayeti nischina. They have it, just as in the case of the body, Vata dhanadau. Vata means the banyan tree, dhana means the seed. So the seed of a banyan tree is very small. In those and that in similar other cases also, suvicharya vilokyatam. Suvicharya may think very well, vilokyatam, and may try to ascertain the nature of those things also. Ko dhanaha, where is the dhana, where is the seed? Kutrava vriksha, and where is this tree? Can you imagine such a huge tree having come out of that little seed? And as the footnote number 2 says, dhanaha means bijam, dhana means a seed. Idam nigrodaphalam atah ahara iti atra sfutam. There is a dialogue or a conversation in the Chandogya Upanishad between Uddalaka and Shvetaketu, where Shvetaketu has been asking again and again, please explain me differently, please explain me differently. The teacher gives an illustration. At one point the teacher says, okay, he says, I can't see something. Okay, if you cannot see, he says, alright, bring some water. And on the previous night, add some salt into the water. Okay, he did that. Next morning, bring that water. He says, now please tell me, where is the salt? He says, I don't see the salt anywhere. He says, okay, take some portion from the top of this and taste. So it is salty. Take some portion of water from the bottom, it is salty. Take some portion from the middle, it is salty. He says this water is salty all over. Even though you cannot see the salt is there all over. Meaning that in order to ascertain the presence of salt in the water, eyes are not the pramanam, but then taste becomes the pramanam. And so also in order to ascertain the truth, our sensuous perception is not the pramanam, but then scriptural learning becomes the pramanam. And the other time, the teacher again asks him, okay, from this tree, bring one fig. So the banyan tree has those little figs, bring that, and split open. Okay, I have split that open. Now take out one seed from that fig, there are so many seeds in there. Okay, bring out a seed. He says, here it is. Split that, here it is split. See what is there. I don't see anything there. You do not see anything in the seed, but the fact remains that the whole tree has originated from this seed. So, if you say that the tree is a effect of the seed, because you plant the seed and ultimately the tree comes out, that means that the whole tree is there in the seed itself. And still you don't see anything. And so this little seed contains this entire tree. Isn't that a miracle? Or isn't that really Maya? So where is that little seed which doesn't seem to have anything in it? And where is this huge tree which seems to have come out from that? Tasmad Maya iti nischinu. And therefore, this is what is called Maya, or this is that which is magic or inexplicable or a miracle. Nischinu, this is what may you ascertain. That wherever you look, everywhere you only see these miracles, and miracles are Maya alone. And so take any case, and this is what you will find. This is Nanu Asmadhi Nirvaktum Asakyatvevi Udayanadihi Acharyahi Niruchadevi Asankyaha. He says, maybe you keep on asking these questions to me, I am not that smart, and therefore maybe I am not able to answer your questions. But then, Udayanadihi, So in this Tarka Shastra of the logic, Udayana was one of the greatest acharyas. And he has tried to give explanation for everything. So maybe I am not smart enough to give you the answers, to your questions. That doesn't mean that there are no answers to these questions. I am sure that there are great people and much more intelligent people who can definitely answer your questions. And the illustration is Udayana. By such acharyas, these answers have been given. Niruchyate, they have given definitions or lakshanas of everything. Because this is where the Niyayikas, the logicians, excel. In giving lakshana or definition of everything. And that's what logic is, define everything. And such precise definitions they give. He says they are capable of defining everything, and therefore, well, maybe you have to look there for answer. Iti ashankyaha. If this is a question, then this verse 149 answers that. Nirukta vibhimananye dadhate tarkikadayah harshamisradidhistetu khandanadau sushikshitah. निरुक्तौ अभिमानम ये दधते तार्किकादयः. ये तार्किकादयः निरुक्तो अभिमानम दधते. Those तार्किकादयः meaning those logicians etc. Abhimanam dadhate, they hold a pride. Niruktau, nirukti means nirvachanam, meaning definition. So those tarkikas etc. who have this pride that they can define anything, and Udayana is one of them. Te harsha mishradidhi, te tu khandanadu sushikshitaha. Well, as footnote number 3 says, harsha mishraha khandanakaraha. There is a very famous text in Vedanta called Khandana Khanda Khadya, and that is written by a teacher called Harsha Mishra. He used to tell us a story. Swami might have perhaps told you. Olden days, that whatever you write or whatever you compose has to be approved by the Panditas, and then alone it will gain acceptance. So today also you must present your book for the book review by the people who are recognized in that field, and then alone you will gain recognition. So those days also. So this Mandana Mishra, this Harsha Mishra, apparently wrote a text, and it was presented to the Panditas, and all of them rejected. They said this doesn't make sense at all. And so this Harsha Mishra goes to his teacher, and he was very frustrated and disappointed. Look, I have written such a great thing, and these people say that it doesn't make any sense. His teacher says, okay, I'll suggest one method. From now on, every day in lunch, you eat curd and eggplant. Every day. For several months you do that. He says, okay. You know, this eggplant also brings about tamas, and curd also brings about tamas. The buddhi becomes dull with this kind of food. That's the reason why certain food they don't eat. Anyway, this man was asked to eat that for some time. He did that. His mind became a little dull. He said, now you write something. And then he wrote this work called Khandana Khanda Khadya. And then scholars say it's a great thing, because what he wrote earlier was beyond their comprehension. Therefore, they rejected it. This Khandana Khanda Khadya is one of the most difficult texts in Vedanta. We talk of Prasthanatrayi, the three principal texts, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra and Bhagavad Gita are called Prasthanatrayi. And if you study them well, you have studied Vedanta. But in the scholastic circles in Banaras, etc., they have no regard for these texts. They call it Laghu Prasthanatrayi, and there is a Guru Prasthanatrayi. This is Prasthanatrayi for the junior people or for the infants, which is Brahma Sutra and then Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishad. This is called Laghu Prasthanatrayi or a Prasthanatrayi for the junior people. That is what they call a Guru Prasthanatrayi, a greater Prasthanatrayi. And what is that? Khandana Khanda Khadya. And then Advaita Siddhi. So these are the texts if you study. then you are a real scholar. So Khanda and Khanda Khadya is considered to be one of the very difficult texts, and this is one of the texts that they teach there in the traditional. So he says, you look at this text and you will find that Harsha Mishra, the author of the text, has already answered and dismissed all the various points of view which are presented by Udayanacharya. Sushikshitaha, all these Tarkikas have been very well taken care of. Or Sushikshita means all of them have been very well taught lessons by this Harsha Mishra in his texts such as Khandana Khanda Khadya and so many other texts also. And thus, all you require is a superior intellect or a better logician who will come along and dismiss the position of an earlier logician. So Vedantins happen to be excellent logicians also. And therefore, they are able to dismiss the position of other people. As Swami must have told you, the Maya, there was a book called the Dushana, the Shata Dushani. That Maya has so many, 100 different defects they are fearing. So somebody came out and said, Shata Bhushani, that all those different things itself are Bhushana, meaning that you cannot explain anything in the world, itself is Bhushana of the Maya. And so all these logicians have been very well taught, taken care of in those texts. And so nobody can hold the pride that they can explain something. You cannot explain anything. Uktarthe Sampradayikānām Vakyam Samvādayati. In Uktarthe, meaning to make this point, Sampradayikānām, this one Vakya is being quoted here from again the earlier teachers to concur with this idea that it is not possible to give an explanation for the nature of creation or for the nature of a definition for the nature of creation or for that matter for nature of Brahman. Brahman also is beyond words, meaning it cannot be defined in words, and so also is the Jagat or Maya. And so it is said in verse 150, Achintyah khalu ye bhavaha natam starkeshu yojayed Achintya rachana rupam manasapi jagat khalu. Achintya khalu ye bhavaha tan tarkeshu nayode. Bhavaha means those principles of those things. Achintya, those which are beyond the comprehension of the intellect. Tan tarkeshu nayode. One should not try to give explanation with the help of tarka. Tarka means logic, and logic is nothing but is something that falls within the realm of the intellect. But then those things which are beyond the intellect, achintyaha, those which are not the products of intellect. Intellect itself is a product of Maya. So intellect itself is a product of Maya, and therefore whatever the intellect can comprehend will always be within the realm of Maya. Intellect can never go in its comprehension beyond the Maya. It cannot comprehend Maya definitely. Certainly it cannot comprehend that which is the very basis of Maya, namely Brahman. And therefore, when it comes to the Maya as well as Brahman, both of them are achintyaha. Both of them are beyond the comprehension of the intellect. Tan tarkeshu nayojet. Do not try to fit them, or do not try to bring them into the fold of tarka or the logic. Do not seek to explain them with the help of logic, because logic is something which is a product of intellect. Intellect itself is product of Maya, and therefore there is no way that these things can be comprehended by the mind or the intellect. Achintya rachana rupam manasapi jagat khalu. And jagat, this creation is indeed manasapi achintya rachana rupam. This whole rachana or the creation of the universe is something that is mind-boggling, something that goes beyond the comprehension of the mind. Meaning this mind cannot comprehend really the creation of this universe. And therefore, Jagat also or universe also falls in the category of Achintyam, that which is beyond the comprehension of mind, and therefore don't waste your time in trying to give an explanation by logic, because you cannot. Nanu bhavatu evam jagatah achintya rachanatvam mayayam ki mayatam. He says all the time we have been talking about the universe, we are talking about the world or the creation, and telling us that this world is something that cannot be defined, something cannot be comprehended by the intellect. Fine. Maybe the creation cannot be comprehended by the intellect, but why do you say that the Maya cannot be comprehended? The Jagat cannot be comprehended by the mind. Why do you say that the Maya cannot be comprehended by the mind? The answer is simple. If the effect cannot be comprehended by the mind, certainly the cause cannot be comprehended. Maya, which is the very cause of the Jagat, and therefore Jagat also exhibits the property of Maya. Jagat exhibits the characteristic of incomprehensibility or anirvachaniyatvam. And therefore Maya, which is the very cause of the Jagat, also must be anirvachaniyam. And therefore, whatever applies to the creation also applies to Maya, meaning anirvachaniyatvam or incomprehensibility. This is what is said in verse 151. Achintya rachana shakti bijam mayeti nischana maya bijam tadevaikam sushuptavanubhuyate. Achintya rachana shakti bijam maya iti nischano. Nischano means, may you do this nischaya. May you come to this understanding or may you come to this conviction that Maya is achintya rachana shakti bijam. Bijam means the cause or the seed. Achintya rachana shakti. This Jagat is achintya rachana. This Jagat or the universe is a creation which is achintya, incomprehensible. And that which possesses the power of this incomprehensible creation itself is Maya. So, may you know Maya as the very cause of this creation. Achintya rachana shakti madhya bijam karanam saya Maya. May you understand Maya as the very cause which possesses the incomprehensible power of creating this universe. So if universe is incomprehensible, Maya, which is the cause of it, certainly is incomprehensible. Nanu evam vidham karanam kvadrushtam. So question is, evam vidham karanam, this kind of a cause, kvadrushtam, where do you see this? So where do you see, because Maya now becomes a matter of inference, understand. Since Jagat, we say, which is a product of Maya, cannot be comprehended, and we say that Maya also cannot be comprehended in as much as Maya is the cause of this universe. But where do you find that the cause is incomprehensible because the effect is incomprehensible? Or where do you infer the presence of the cause where the effect is? So, evam vidham karanam, this kind of incomprehensible cause, kvadrushtam, where do you find it? The answer is given in the second line of the verse, maya bijam tadeva ekam sushuptau anubhuyate. Sushuptau in the deep sleep. Tadeva ekam maya bijam anubhuyate. He says whatever we experience in deep sleep is in fact tadeva ekam maya bijam. Tadeva, that very same. Ekam, the one, maya bijam. The cause in the form of Maya is the very same thing that is experienced in the deep sleep. So now, in order for us to again understand this Maya better, we are now brought to our practical experience. That how incomprehensible experiences of life are born from a seed, from a cause which has in the potential form the effect. Just as a seed has in the potential form the whole tree, and so also the deep sleep has in the potential form the waking and the dream states, or what obtains at the time of dissolution has in a potential form this whole creation. So Maya is that which obtains at the time of dissolution, and then it results into this manifest creation, and so also in the deep sleep what obtains is this Maya alone, which is ignorance, and from that comes his waking and the dream experiences. And therefore deep sleep is of the nature of seed of the cause, which contains in a potential form this waking and the dream state. Says, katham tasya jagat bijatvam, how do you say this Maya is the cause of this creation? Or how do you say that the Maya, what is experienced in the deep sleep, is the cause of this Jagat? How do you say that? Then the answer is given in verse 152. Jagrat swapna jagat tatra Leenam bija ivadrumaha Tasmadashesha jagataha Vasana tatra samsthitaha. Jagrat swapna jagat tatra leenam. Tatra means sushuptau, in the deep sleep state. Jagrat swapna jagat leenam. Leenam means it is merged. Just as the salt, lump of salt is merged in water. But it is not perceptible. So to the eye, the salt of lump is not perceptible even though it is merged very much in the water. It is there in the water but not perceptible. It is what we call avyakt or unmanifest, or avyak or the undifferentiated. So the salt is in the water in an unmanifest form. Only when the water crystallizes, then of course you see that in a manifest form. Otherwise, it is unmanifest form. And so also, that's called laya, meaning it is not destroyed, but it remains there in its potential state. And so also the waking and the dream state are leenam, that whole creation or the world consisting of the waking and the dream states, tatra leenam, in the deep sleep, it is leenam meaning it is merged. Meaning it is there in the potential form, but it is not manifest as such. Bije ivadrumaha, yatha bije drumaha leenaha, just as druma means tree, bija means a seed. How the whole tree is there in the seed. Or the tree has totally merged itself into the seed, or the tree is in a potential state in the seed, and so also the waking and the dream states are potentially there in the deep sleep state. Tatah kim, so what? Ityatah aha. Therefore it says, tasmat asesha jagataha vasanaha tatra samsthitaha. So whatever is the effect is said to be potentially present in the cause, and so just as there is an atomic size of a seed of a banyan tree, but we say that the whole banyan tree is there in a potential form in that little seed, and because the banyan tree is what comes out from the seed, and so also this whole creation consisting of the waking and dream comes from the deep sleep, and therefore we say that in the deep sleep it is in the potential form, in the form of what we call samskara or the impressions. Or the vasana. Vasana means again samskara or the impressions. So tasmat, therefore, jagat karanam maya, ataha ashesha jagat vasanaha tatra mayayam tishtanti ityartha. Yataha jagat karanam maya. This maya is jagat karanam, or the cause of this universe. Ataha, therefore, ashesha jagat vasanaha. The whole universe is in a potential form. Tatra, in that maya. Says footnote number 1, sushuptau anubhuyamane jagrat swapna rupa jagataha bije. In that seed which is experienced in the deep sleep, and that is what? Jagrat swapna rupa jagataha bija. So in the deep sleep is there the seed or the samskaras of the waking and the dream world, and therefore in the maya also there is the potential of the entire creation. The entire creation is present in the potential form in the maya also. Mayayam tishtanti, and that is the reason why at the time of creation it emerges from maya. And so we say that it is there but in unmanifest form. Therefore maya also is called avyaktam, unmanifest, or avyakritam, undifferentiated. So names and forms which are undifferentiated become differentiated. Just as the gold, all the ornaments are there, but we cannot see in the lump of gold that all of them are merged in gold and they are all undifferentiated. When differentiation happens, that's what we call creation. And thus the whole creation is there in the potential form in the maya. Okay. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्तिः।